Hi, beautiful souls, and welcome to Connected Conversations, here to bring you love, healing, and connection to your everyday lives through open and authentic conversations. I'm a soul coach, helping leaders, individuals, and businesses evolve from within and rise into themselves so that they can move each day and each moment through their greatness. When you have leaders that are living through their greatness, their truth, then you have teams that are inspired and want to evolve, want to grow and transform. They're innovative and creative and collaborative, and a really beautiful, juicy workplace to work within. It's not just about thriving, it's about shining. And when you have leaders that are walking in their truth from a place of their hearts, that is a powerful place to create from. Today, I want to talk to you and have a conversation around change, the truth about change. Now, for many of us, we hear that word change, and I'm going to be honest with you. Over the years, I've worked with lots of different marketing and lots of different people around this, and they always say not to use the word change. But that confuses me, because here's the fucking truth about change. I want to ask you a question actually, just to highlight it. If you're a grown-ass adult and you're walking around and, with a life and, partners and work and friends and driving a car and living in a house and, if you're actually like breathing and walking around, even if you get up in the morning and step up and step onto your couch, like you're taking some steps, but we're going to talk about that side of it. That's each and every, you've had to change to move into that, right? You're still not a fucking baby being held by your mother. This is the reality of our situation. That is the truth about being human. We're born to change and we're born to evolve. And I'm pretty open about the fact that we really haven't evolved as humans. We can go back in time and look over our history and, from a sociological point of view, and you can do all of that stuff and see that inherently we have not evolved. We are still exhibiting the same behaviors as we were back in caveman times, so to speak. We're still trying to conquer the shit out of other people whilst never actually conquering ourselves. So let's talk about the truth about change and the fundamentals of it. Let's just talk about that, because this is what I love increasingly about the work that I do, and I love it, is that it's based on energy. There are what many people would consider to be spiritual practices within the way that I work with clients and the way that I allow them to rise into themselves and invite them into getting to know themselves more deeply and from an intuitive space, from a heart-centered space. And I get, for many people, and most of the people on the planet, that's a fucking scary proposition to live that way. However, it is totally freeing. So that being said, I want to bring you some tangible stuff, because that's the way that I work with people. We've got to have the magic. Yeah, you've got to have that magic part of life that's intuitive, that's like taking a step and you think, well, this doesn't fucking make sense to me, but I'm going to do it anyway. Speaking about my life, you've got to do things that don't make sense to you, yeah, that feel weird and strange. That is part of change. But here, look, let's give you some functional stuff, some tangible stuff, right? And we'll move into the psychology side of change, yeah? Change isn't the click of a finger. No. It doesn't happen overnight. Now, if you're a leader in business, if you're in your own business, if you're, if you've ever had to get fit, lose weight, change a habit around diet, whatever it is in your life, you know that it doesn't happen with the click of a finger. I'm also going to call out a bit of bullshit around this instantaneous change. You do this practice and you have an instantaneous awakening and everything shifts. And don't get me wrong, that stuff does happen. Yeah? Because when you have a psychological shift and you allow it to be an energetic shift as well, then here's what happens. Your external world will change as well. Yeah? And that is an amazing place. So if you're hearing squeaking, I'm actually leaning against my desk. That's not me. That's me leaning my that's me leaning against my desk. I sit on a fit ball, I'll be honest. And so if you're watching and you're seeing me, I'm bouncing around a little bit. And sometimes it's how it works. I've woken up with a high amount of energy today. And so for me, that means I'll move around a lot. And other days I can find stillness. And that is part of growing into the acceptance of change in your life. That moment to moment, things are going to be different. So let's go back to the tangible. I've digressed and I've I got distracted a little bit. That's the energy that I'm sitting in today. So the functional part of change, right? If you've ever had to move through some changes, then I'm going to let you know, and you know that it's not a really short period of time as well. Here's the functional part of it. I've said that several times now. Now I'm actually going to say it. Now that I got distracted by the squeaking and everything else. So when you're looking at a time frame for making a change in your life, and a real change, a lasting change, I'm not talking about like going on a fad diet because you've got an outfit to fit into a holiday to go on or whatever it is, right? Or you're trying to impress someone or whatever. Like if you're a single person and you're dating, don't go into it trying to like make changes for the other person. I mean, we know this now, but I'm just saying it doesn't fucking work. Because they'll start to wear off. And here's why. You've got to know this. It's super important. And that is, it takes about 90 days, 3 months for you to actually make a change in your life that has the chance of being permanent. I know. What a shit thing to underlie it with. Because here's the thing about change. You have to be willing. You have to be willing to actually keep going and keep doing the things that you say that you want to do. Keep moving towards what it is you want to move towards. And I'm going to talk about that stuff as well. But here is the bold-faced facts. The first 30 days is when it's a mental challenge. Yeah, and it's that mental stuff going on of like, okay, this is a decision I've made, and it's a thinking time for you because you're actually having to begin to create new neural pathways in your mind that you can channel this new behavior, this new habit, this new thing that you want to do, right? So that's the first 30 days. So your brain's going, okay, we're concentrating, we're making this change. I'm having to think about this all the time. You're having to give it a lot of focus and a lot of mental focus, right? The next 30 days, so we're getting to, that 60-day point, that's about your body. Your body's starting to actually receive the messages, do the physical actions, take the steps, feel into it. Yeah, because any kind of change, you're going to have lots of different emotions come up, and your body's going to have to be able to move through those. Yeah. So that's the next 60 days where your body starts to go, okay, all right, I feel this. I'm feeling into it. Okay, I know what that feeling is now, but it's not real. Or is it real? And I just need to acknowledge it. We're going to talk about that too. All right. So that's That's that part of change. So you've got your mind in the first 30 days. The mind's still coming along in the next 60, but your body's starting to catch up now. Your body's like, okay, all right, I'm feeling this now, and starting to get some memory in the body. You're teaching if you're working out and it's something around a physical change, then your body is starting to go, oh yeah, all right, we're getting into a rhythm now. It's learning to do the action without having to force the thinking into it. Yeah. And then in the last 30 days, in that last month, it's when those two align, the mind and the body start to align, and you're not having to really give it so much thinking about it. It's starting to become a conscious choice within you. It's starting to become something that your brain says, this is what we do. And the body says, yeah, I remember this. I know this. So those two parts of you are starting to align. Now, here's the kicker. Let's go back to the first day where you go, I want this. I want this change in my life. Yeah? I want to make this shift. If it is coming from a place of your truth and soul truth, something you truly want, fuck everybody else. Not because you're doing it for anybody else, and not because you've been guilted in it and you're watching, fucking celebrities, talk about how they've had these amazing changes. None of that, right? Because none of that's real. If this has come from a true place of truth, I want this. This is heart. I want this. Then by the time you get to the end of that 3 months, you've got this alignment within you. Mind, body, and soul. Because the soul is what's driving you. The truth is what's driving you the whole time. And it's only your mind and your body that you're having to give all that focus to, and just to give it different messages, call bullshit on it of, well, I can't do that. Let's prove you wrong. Because underneath all of that, there are going to be some core beliefs about why you can't do something. You've had them your whole life. And in that 90 days, in that 3 months, you're proving it wrong. And you're proving, you're really tapping into your soul. So just think for a moment, what's something that perhaps you've never gone for? Because here's another part of it, right? Not the next part of it, but this is what we do when we get to the end of the night, the 3 months, the 90 days, and we go, it's almost like we think, oh, we've got this now. But here's the thing, we do still have to be aware of how we're making those choices, yeah? And what can move you apart from it. And there's 2 different aspects that we've got to look at within this. You can be complaining about the change, yeah? I've had to do all this stuff and it's hard work, and I don't know if I can do this. And the excuses bubble up, the time, the money, the whatever. None of that stuff is actually real. What you are choosing is to stay with the pain, because that's probably known to you. If this is something that you truly want and you've never done it before, I guarantee you there is going to be pain. There's going to be resistance. There's going to be ways that your brain goes, fucking let's find some ways to complain and to find excuses about this. And 100%, I've totally been there. Absolutely been there. And I still find myself there at times. It's quicker for me to get out of it now. It's quicker for me to have the awareness. Yeah. And I'm going to share with you how you can do that. Yeah. It's absolutely still within me that happens, that I can want something so badly, not badly like desperately, but so in my heart, something I want, and yet I will still find pain. I will still find why I can't. I will still find what I don't have. I will still find why it's going to be so fucking hard for me to do this. Yeah? So I can still choose the pain. And that will never ever change in my life. I know, I'm not delivering a good news, am I? And that's what you're hoping for, because we all want a magic pill, right? We all want this magic pill where someone takes all of our pain away and we can go off and live a blissful fucking life. That's not real. Like, I'd say sorry, but I'm not, because it's not real. You are going to have pain points in your life. You are. Now, if you've listened to my story before, you can go back in the podcast. It's called My Story. You can even listen to The Death of Wonder Woman as well. That's another one I've got in there. So you can go back and listen to some other ones in there in my solo. And even throughout the whole podcast, I share with you that I have challenges too. And I can choose pain. Yeah? I can choose to look at the shit bits and live through there. And continue to make my choices through there. And continue to allow the excuses rule my life. And those excuses they don't create any tension in my life. They, kind of make me feel better. Oh, well, it's okay that I don't really want that. Or, it's okay I didn't go for that walk. Or, it's okay that I didn't, do that hike in nature, which I fucking love. And I can let myself off the hook, yeah? And what I'm doing in that moment is creating more pain. Because what I'm doing in that moment is not acknowledging it. And this is how we move through. This is how we allow those pain points. We allow the complaining, the excuses. We can allow all that stuff to be in our life. But it doesn't have to be how we make our choices, yeah? Because when we go into that complaint state, when we stay in the excuses, when we allow ourselves to think that we've, we feel so much better now that we've made this decision, we're actually not going to feel better. Like, you're just not. What you are doing is living from a place of shame. And that's a whole nother conversation. Yeah, you're choosing shame programming over everything. And it will make you feel better because you think, I feel good about that choice. But down the track, you're going to have some experience of, feeling less than because you didn't actually stick to something that was in your heart. You allowed the pain to take over, the excuses, the complaining, what you don't have, what you don't need, to guide you. Yeah? And the giving up part of it, it's not that important to me. That's not helping you move to something that's amazing in your life. Yeah? To live really wonderfully from your heart in a feel-good state. Yeah? You're not going to necessarily feel proud of yourself because you are going to have a deeper underlying thing that says, I just give up on myself. You're teaching yourself that that's what you do, and you'll keep doing it. I don't want that for you. I want you to keep backing yourself. Yeah, in whatever change it is in your life, whether it's relationships, work, creating amazing teams within your business. I want that for you. Yeah. So we've got to acknowledge that that is within us. We've got to acknowledge that there are shit bits, that there is darkness, that we have limited thinking and feeling about who we are and what we can do in the world. We need to acknowledge that within us. Yeah? Because there's power, there's such power in that. When you acknowledge the challenges, when you acknowledge where you are at, one, you've got this amazing starting point. Okay, this is where I'm at right now. And then it allows you to stretch and go, okay, I can still focus on what it is I want and just keep moving towards it. And when I say just keep moving towards it, of course you're going to have to take action. Of course you're going to have to actually take steps to move towards that. But when you acknowledge where you're at, when you acknowledge the limited thinking, when you acknowledge the limited feeling that you have, when you acknowledge that, oh, I'm actually making choices from a place of shame, oh, I'm making choices from a place of fear, oh, I'm making choices from what other people think about me, oh, I'm making choices from the limited thinking that others have around me and their beliefs, yeah? When you acknowledge, okay, there are going to be challenges. Okay, I'm going to have to actually move beyond what I've known before. I don't know what that is to get what I really want, because let me tell you, what's in your heart, it's always big, isn't it, baby? Like, it's always much bigger than what we say. Yeah, because that's part of the limiting. We just minimize it, we make it smaller. And then, or we'll just like lessen the goal as we go along. So we achieve it, but kind of. But there's a power in acknowledging that. There is a power in acknowledging the pain. Because the only limitations that you have are the ones that you've created in your mind. And I know that you believe that there are limitations around you. I can feel you listening right now. I know you're already like, yeah, but what's happening around me? They are circumstances. And when you understand that they actually don't need to be anything but acknowledged, okay, this is the circumstances I find myself in. But what is it that you want? Acknowledge where you are at. Absolutely. However, that's not what you can create. It's what you've already created, actually. In your present moment right now, is you've created that to this point. Yeah? Hard to believe, I know, but the choices that you make every day, the choosing pain, the choosing the drama, the choosing to have toxic people in your life, the choosing to go back to, negative behaviors, trauma responses. I know this is really hard to allow and let in. And you know how I know it's so hard? I've actually had to move through this. If you've listened to my story, you know that I've experienced trauma in my life. Yeah? And for a long time, I did not own that I was making choices through that experience, through everything I'd wrapped around it, through the beliefs that I'd, had been created, habits and patterns. So when I came to the point where I understood that I was fully responsible and I had to acknowledge the pain that I had created over the years and what the choices that I'd made through it, I mean, there were tears and there was resistance and there's fight and there's still resistance that comes up. However, I have the practice of acknowledging that I'm choosing through pain. That I'm choosing through the how the fuck am I going to create this? How the fuck am I going to do that? Yeah, I'm choosing through the limits rather than acknowledging them and understanding that they are within me. They're not going to go away. But what is it I want? Knowing that whatever I want to create is going to take some time in terms of the inner shifts that need to go on. Yeah? Not to say that you won't experience amazing changes and growth through that 3 months. You will. And you may have some of your creations come into your life in that time. However, I want you to keep acknowledging that your attention needs to be on the change that you want to create. Yeah? On the outcome that you want, on the goal, on the pleasure that you want to create in your life. It needs to stay there. Because that's how you get to it. Focusing on the desire that is within you. Focusing on the awareness of the feeling that it creates within you. Just even acknowledging, hey, that's in my heart. I fucking really want that. Like, I really want that. And I'm going to go for it. I'm going to back myself so fully that I'm going to acknowledge all my shit. I'm going to acknowledge the limits that I place on myself. I'm going to start to ignore the limits that other people place on me, because I'm going to stay focused on my heart. Because people will, I'm telling you right now, I say this to clients all the time, you are going to shed people. Yeah. In a business, there are people that are going to leave. They don't want to face their limiting shit. They don't want to do that. They don't want to have a look as a team of where this skill set is and also where it lacks. Because we need to understand all of that. We need to know the things that limit, the limiting stuff that we've created in ourselves, because it shows up. Yeah, we project it out into the world and it's reflected back. So that's the truth about change. 1, not fucking instant. 2, stop focusing on all your pain all the time. Acknowledge it. Let it be the fact that it needs to be part of your truth, that it's in there. You're going to have shit bubble up all the time. Yeah? I mean, before I started doing this internal work, understanding more deeply, going into my emotions and, unraveling them to understand that, God, I was living in the past. These are past emotions, constructed emotions. We're only meant to be in the present with them. We're only meant to acknowledge them and to use the information to move us forward. Yeah? So acknowledge them and also have something to focus on. Dig deep into your heart. What is it? I don't care how crazy and big and wide. Who are you not to create that? Who are you not to live through your heart? Because I can tell you, look, we're energetic. We are energy, right? That is just bold-faced facts. Yeah? So when you're living from an energetic space of shame, right, of the limitations of what you can't do, making choices from that place, of other people's opinions, external, I guarantee you are going to feel tired. You are going to feel like this is just my fucking life. It's always going to be the same. You're going to feel like that, and that's not going to change. However, when you choose to move and shift your vibration and raise your vibration, because that's what happens when you're in a higher state, when you're in that loving state, when you're proud of the choices that you make, when you're moving towards and you have something that moves you forward, yeah, that will shift your vibration. And when you're in that state, you'll feel better. You'll want to look after yourself more. You'll have more energy. You will always be looking for, what needs to be different here? What do I need to change within myself? And in that state, when you start to vibrate differently, the people around you are going to change. Because there are people that don't want to do that. They want to stay in their shit. And that's okay. I'm not judging here. Nothing in here is judging you and saying, that's a shit thing to be. Like, live how you want to live. But if you want to live in a higher state of being, and I'm not saying sunshine and moonbeams, you can hear it in here. I'm not telling you, you've got to acknowledge your shit because it's going to come up. Yeah? You have to acknowledge it so that you can actually move beyond it. It's always going to be in there. And, the more you move into a higher state of living, higher vibration, more, and this isn't about positive thinking or blah, no, none of that. Affirmations, no. It is about positive actions. Positive actions in relation to heart, what you want, how you want to move forward. So if you're wanting to lead an inspired team, then you've got to do this internal stuff. Yeah? You've got to have this outcome in your mind that you want to move towards, a goal, something you want to achieve. And I guarantee you the world around you will change. If you can acknowledge that it is going to take you time to make changes and you are going to have to give it focus, it's going to have to be daily, setting intentions, taking actions daily to move towards this. Yeah, it's not just saying affirmations and fingers crossed hoping for the best. No. Yeah, you are going to have to take action on what it is that you want. You're going to have to let go of some stuff. And you can hear it in here. You're going to have to let go of some habits and patterns and behaviors that do not work for you, that are not in line with what you want. Yeah? So let's go back to the start. Day one. What is it that you want? What is it that you truly want? What kind of leader do you want to be in your life? And it doesn't have to be leading a business, leading a team. You could be in business for yourself, right? And you need to lead yourself in the truth of who you are. And that's what we do together. Get to the truth of who you are and move you to living from that space. Move you into living in that space. Because that is a delicious place to be. It's fun. It's challenging at times. It's confronting because you're going to have to face your dark shit. But it's alive. And it's, you know what? I wonder if there are human words to the feeling that I get each and every day. There is a feeling of aliveness, of curiosity, of fun, of playfulness. And you can have that in your life if you choose to understand all sides of you. And that's what we do together. I want to give you back you, who you truly are, to have a life that you wake up to and love living in, where you have moments in your day where you think, yeah, this is fucking cool. So if you want that in your business and in your life, then let's do it. I'd love to share time with you. I'd love to hear how this landed for you. What's something in your life that's taking time to change, and how can you put one of these things into practice in your life? I'd love to hear from you. Pop it in the comment below. You can shoot me a message, and I am going to see you next time on Connected Conversations. Thank you so much for sharing your time and energy with me. And if you really truly do want the transformation in your life, then begin now. And please remember to be yourself and feel good for who you are, because there's only one of you, and you are the only person who can actually create a feel good life from within. Much love, beautiful souls. Thanks for sharing your time and energy. See you next time. To connect with me, head to emmamuir.com. Enjoy your day, and thanks for sharing your time.